it's our last day here, and when you look back, there are a lot of learnings, a lot of takeaways for players, a lot of takeaways for the management, for us journalists as well. The one thing that I think can be improved, and this is not a critical comment or any such thing, one thing that I think can be improved, and in the course of my cricket watching, I've seen this in the past. I think the relationship between the Indian media and the players, also the management, is kind of a give and take. There is no bonding. I think that is what is lacking. So let me give you an example. When I see a Gautam Gambhir come at a press conference, I don't think he really wants to do that press conference. Or for that matter, anyone. I think it's a compulsion. I have to come and answer 5 questions. I will answer my 5 questions and job done. I don't see, take the Australian media. There will be special events done for the Australian media by the players and the management. The English media, there will be special press conferences, meetings. This tour, Molin did a great job. He did a great job. He called the Indian media, tried to organize special like the Ravindra Jadeja one, but Australian media was also there. One thing I think really needs to be done somehow, and by the way, 1989, the one photograph that went viral from the Pakistan tour was Tendulkar with that moustache and all. There was a media day when players and media spent time with each other in Pakistan.
Wow.
Absolutely, and I've seen that. We've written about it. The players and the media would be friends. I think that is something that is lacking on at this point in time in Indian cricket.
Yes, this being my first international tour and being on a longish tour, I think it is quite evident that that's the case. With the evolution of social media, there's this certain independence when it comes to players, when it comes to team. Obviously, they don't have to go through this media channel to put out any news. They can do it on their own, and that's somewhere, that's one of the reasons why this connection is lost, this relationship is lost. But like you said, and you've been making this point that on a long tour, on a 2-month-long tour, where there's so much going to be happening, you're playing a team like Australia, you're battling it out with an Australian media, you need that synergy between the players and the media. You need to be on the same page. You need to back your players and the players need to back the media. That's somewhere, I think that's something that's lacking. When the players, I think, are very closed off, when a Gautam Gambhir, like you said, comes out for a press conference, it feels very aggressive. It's almost like, when you ask a question, it's almost like you're out to get them, but that's not the case. We just want, answers to all the questions that are being raised. So,
yeah, and let us be first critical of us.
Yes.
First, let us be critical of us before we are critical of the players or the management. I think what has happened with social media, more with social media, is that a negative story sells.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Gossip sells.
Numbers.
Sensationalism sells. And the more you see social media, and that is why I was making this point, that if the player and the media are on the same page, and you put out a gossip headline, the player can also come and say, this is not the correct thing.
Yeah,
Why don't you
absolutely.
put out the right story?
Absolutely.
It is your job to ask the hard question. Of course, ask the hard question,
Yes.
but put out the right story. As of now, it is as if you have to make a gossip headline or a sensationalist headline or a headline which is negative to kind of push that. And by the way, this is a media agnostic age. There is nothing called mainstream media anymore.
True.
So while we are making a point, the first thing is we have to be critical of ourselves. And we have also gone down that route, everyone, where we want to not report, rather get into something which is more sensational, that clickbait headline, that kind of stuff, where I think all of us can improve. All of us can improve. The players, by the way, there's no qualms in saying I'm close to quite a few players and I will speak to them and get news. But what about someone like you who's a young person or someone who's come on the first tour? If there is bonding, players spend a media day, players and the media do a dinner together, a social occasion together. You get the players out there, get the media out there, proper interaction, a bonding is built. And you know why I'm saying all this? I'm saying all this, India doesn't need this in the Champions Trophy.
Right.
You don't. But when you go to England, tabloids like The Sun and some of those, Mirror and all, they'll come at you. That Kohli clown headline. I did not see the Indian media united.
Exactly.
When Sam Constance was doing what he was doing, I did not see the Indian media united on that. These are things I think Indian team will also need in England.
Speaking of tabloids and that clown Kohli headline, I think that was one of the most bitter things that the Australian media did. Rohit Sharma crybaby with the pacifier on his face, Virat Kohli with the clown nose and the headline of clown Kohli. I think I had a few conversations with some of the people in the press box, and they said this was the time for us to come together and sort of back up players. It was the time for us where we could have put out a very united front and said, boss, this is wrong. But that did not happen. Even if we wanted it to happen, because no one is on the same page, it ends up not happening. It ends up not translating, much like the plans of the Indian team not being executed on the field. So that's the difference there. I think everyone wants to do it, but there's just no synergy. And traditionally, when you look at it, a relationship between a sports person and a media person was so close. I think when I look back, when I talk to older players, they're always, first in thanking the media for putting out news, for being their voice. I think that's no longer there.
I say, it is also the responsibility of the media, and we have to be self-critical,
absolutely.
because it's not a one-way street. But
100%.
when I think of Monkeygate, the entire Indian media contingent was united.
Yes.
All of us were together saying this can't be done to Harbhajan Singh. You cannot treat Harbhajan Singh like a convict. You're putting a camera on him. You're treating him like an animal. You can't do that. And all of us were like, I remember that incident in Perth when a camera person from a television network was pushed, and he came and said to us, and all of us kind of got united, and we made sure that the media manager had to unconditionally apologize to that person. So there are instances of all this.
That did not happen this time around when you saw all those headlines.
Exactly, and I kind of think that we lack that as a group.
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
touring media group, we
100%.
lack that. When I see Paris, and by the way, a lot of us were in Paris. Trisha, who's doing the production here, was in Paris with me. There is a synergy between the athlete and the media as far as Olympic sport is concerned. Even if it's a Neeraj, think about this. A Neeraj Chopra, who is as big a star as Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma or anyone, Neeraj Chopra, after his event, stood outside till 3 a.m. Paris time. His event finished around 11 p.m. He was outside on the road till 3 a.m. doing media interviews, because he realized that all these people have come from India to cover me. I've got a silver. I have to sort of also cater to their demands. And everyone hailed Neeraj. Do you see a player waiting 4 hours here to do media interviews? I don't. I think that is where there has to be a conscious effort on the part of the media, also the BCCI and the team, so that this can be improved in England. Because in England already Nasser Hussain and Michael Atherton have sounded the bugle. They have said England will beat India at home. So this will mount. The pressure on the Indian team in transition will mount. I think the media and the players need to get together.
I think with the kind of cricket that we're seeing in Indian cricket, the evolution, the transition, whatever you want to call it, Indian cricket needs solid backup from the media. Media people need to go out and defend the team at this point. And, responsible journalism is what I would say. Like you said, you can't entirely blame the players here. You can't entirely blame the management or whatever, the team, because media also has a responsibility of doing some responsible journalism, not clickbait, not for the numbers, not for sensationalism. Put out good news, and it's for the sport. Ultimately, it's for the sport and nothing else.
Yeah, and for the last few minutes of this particular show, when I think about it, you mean to say on Christmas Day nothing could be organized between the media and the players?
Versus what the Australian team did.
Yes, the players were there, the kids were there, the family was there. Even a Christmas cake cutting. On behalf of the team, you do it for the media, or on behalf of the media, you do it for the team. On the 1st of January, New Year's Day, why couldn't there be a 15-minute conversation over a New Year resolution, the Indian touring media and the players? You put the players out there, some photographs, some memories, some stories. So when I look back at tours like this and I compare it with hockey, I compare it with Olympics, I compare it with Paralympics, and as far as personally I am concerned, I've been there, done that. The players are friends, so that's no problem. But when I see young people coming in, and I see there is that scare, there is that apprehension, there is that anxiety. It is not easy being a young journalist in India anymore.
I would agree. I think that's it. Synergy is the right word to use here. It is a two-way street. It can't be just that one party is making the efforts and the other is not, and it's just one person gives and the other takes. It can't be like that. It has to be a two-way street. Media is as responsible as the players, and the players are as responsible as the media. And it is all relationships are two ways. You can't have only one person making an effort. So at this point, before the England tour, which will be very, very important considering everything that has happened throughout the Australian tour, Indian cricket is in transition. We need to back each other.
I agree. And to close off, in a couple of minutes, as we kind of do this show, Michael will come to this apartment to pick us up. Now think about it. This is the relationship. It has evolved over time. We will go and do his podcast for his channel or whatever it is in the studio. David Warner has come and dropped me. Every time I've been, in Mumbai, I've Rohit Sharma and I have been very close over dinner and all that. In the past, before the ban, Virat Kohli and I mean, when I think back to the Sachin Tendulkar now, Saurav Ganguly, these are relationships, VVS Lakshman, all of these relationships have kind of helped us both. These are relationships where one can build trust. I think that's the word. At this point, the trust is lacking between the players and the media. It is as if it's a competition. I need to get you. I don't think that get you policy works. Hopefully when we go to England, there will be a conscious thought that maybe this is where the media will take the first step, the BCCI as well, and this will improve. Maybe this is our New Year resolution.
It could be, and I hope it comes true.
Thank you very much for watching.